back on Atypical Talk. This is a podcast where we have conversations that illuminate the intersection of faith, culture, and the common spaces of our humanity. I'm Abby.
I'm Allison.
And I'm Joel.
We're going to start today with the question, which actor would you want to play you in the movie about your life?
Oh, man. This was a hard one for me because I've literally never thought about it before. But I do love Gilmore Girls. We've talked about this before, I think. And so at first I was like, oh, Lauren Graham for sure. She plays Lorelai. Right? Yeah. She's the mom. And we're just, the way we talk is very similar, just kind of our personalities. Not so much that she looks like me, just, you know, and same with like Reese Witherspoon was the other one that I thought, I could get down with that because she can be serious, but also she doesn't take herself too seriously. Yeah. Like I follow her on TikTok. She's a delight.
She's so fun on TikTok.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, she's pretty bubbly though, Allison.
She can be.
And you know what? You can be bubbly too.
Exactly. That's the thing. She can also not be if she wants. So
I mean, she's an actress. She can
exactly.
You know, she can figure it
out. So
not
not because she looks like me, but just because I feel like our personalities would be all right.
Yeah.
What about you, Joel?
This is a tough question because, you know, I'd like to think somebody like Tom Cruise or something like that. But I can't say that because everybody's going to be like, you're such an idiot. I can't believe you think you're so cool. No, more often than not, honestly, it's in the last year or so. I've had random people tell me, oh, man, I thought you were Seth Rogen when you walked in the room. And I'm like, that sounds about right. Hopefully my laugh is a little less annoying than Seth Rogen's laugh. We might need to drop in the Seth Rogen laugh. That, but also I really like the actor Jason Segel. He was on How I Met Your Mother. He was in a couple different movies that my wife and I really love. And he's just neurotic enough, and he's tall and a bigger guy. And I'm like, I think I could be like Jason Segel, maybe.
Yeah, at first I thought you were about to say Jason Sudeikis.
Ted Lasso? Oh, man.
And I was like, I don't see it. I don't see it. Yeah. What about you, Abby?
So I'm the same way with like, I couldn't think of anyone that I feel like I look like. Yeah. But I feel like, you know, Princess Diaries era Anne Hathaway. You know, she had the clumsy, you know, nerdy. Yeah. I feel like that's kind of how I was in high school too. So I feel like she can get me in you know, my awkward high school era.
But not like Catwoman, not Catwoman. No. Anne Hathaway.
No, okay. It's a little different.
I don't fit the Catwoman vibe, but okay. Yeah, but that was kind of where I was going with that.
That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, man. So our first story today is about a South Carolina student pastor who has been put on leave. A student pastor, Corey Wall at Fairview Baptist Church in North Carolina, is currently on leave after he handed out I Heart Hot Youth Pastors stickers to his students. This was made public when the sister of a 14-year-old who received one of these stickers expressed her frustration on social media and talked about how uncomfortable this made her sister feel. The outrage has been emphasized since this church is also a member of Southern Baptist Convention, which this year has been accused of covering up sexual abuse in its churches. Corey Wall explained, "We're updating our church-wide database, and I encourage kids to come see me to get a sticker and update their information. This sticker was meant to poke fun of the I love hot mom culture. In hindsight, the joke was a very poor taste and a mistake on my part."
You think?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with him there.
Also, is the I Love Hot Moms a culture?
Is it a thing? I know.
It's not.
Was this like 1992? It was a joke, maybe?
I mean, I've seen some moms that like their kids' baseball games that wear like, I love the hot coach because they're literally married to the coach, you know, and I'm like, okay, it's still a little, you know, cringe for me, but like, yeah.
But still, if it was a mom handing out those stickers, it would be just as weird.
Right.
Like,
Thank you.
1,000%. Yeah. 1,000%.
And any other, I can't wrap my head around the thought process here. And honestly, like, I don't know much about Corey Wall. He's a student pastor, youth pastor. He's probably a younger guy, probably doesn't have a lot of experience. I think it's an institutional failure on the church's part to, like, not see this coming or to, like, let this go on. I mean, I'm glad that he's been placed on leave, and hopefully there can be some kind of learning and restoration inside of this. But it's just hard to wrap my mind around.
Well, and I feel like the article said something about how their pastor talked about it from the pulpit the next week or something like that.
Oh, I think you're right.
Like in a positive light as a joke?
Like, no, not as a joke, but almost like it wasn't that deep.
Okay.
Or, you know, I mean, I don't want to say he like defended him, but kind of just like.
Yeah, there was something about him saying, you know, some people felt offended by this, you know, kind of putting it on the people and not the actions of the
the action was offensive.
Yeah, but I can't remember if it was from the pulpit or if like he sent out an email or something.
Yeah.
Not a great idea, whatever this was. And again, I do want to always try to affirm the impulse behind this, because I think there was an impulse for him to do whatever it takes to reach people, to make sure that he could have the right information in his database so he could serve people well. Like, that is a good thing. And the impulse to reach people is a good thing. But this falls into, I think, a dangerous category we can get into inside of local churches where, you know, the ends justify the means. And the idea of like, well, if he gets more information, then he can serve and help more people. And it's like, it doesn't really matter how he gets it done. It's just all about the end in mind. And man, I've seen this play out in churches and so many of the scandalous stories that we've read about and learned about inside of the evangelical church over the last couple of years. And it seems to be this gnawing thing that keeps coming back to like, well, we excused his behavior because look how many people got baptized. Well, we didn't really mind that the money was getting kind of goofy because, oh, look at like how many people were coming to church. And it's always about like the ends justifying the means. And I would just love to like be a part of a conversation where we're like, that ends justifying the means might be something in the business world, but like inside of the kingdom, it does not compute. It's not part of God's way of running things. I mean, Jesus talked often about the way that we do things and the life that we live in this kingdom venture that we're invited into. Even at one point in the book of John, we're told that he calls himself the way, the truth, and the life. So how we do things matters as much as what gets done and what gets produced. I mean, we have a call as a people of faith, people that are following Jesus, to have our way look like Jesus's way, to have our posture look like Jesus's posture, to have our tone of voice, our tone towards people look like Jesus. And it doesn't matter what we get at the end unless that's true. And I think this is like a symptom of a larger sickness inside of our churches, often that Bridgeway, the church that I lead, that we're a part of, we're not immune from, but we need to be mindful of, is that, well, the ends just justify the means. It's all about reaching people, so we'll do whatever it takes. And I think there can be a lot of people hurt in the process. And ultimately, Sarah Bessey says this the best. She says that it doesn't matter how right you are or where your end goal is, unless it embodies the fruit of the Spirit, then you're wrong. You're out of line. And I think this is just a great, check in front of us while we make decisions. It's not like just all about the end goal and us getting there and how right we are about the goal, but if our actions, our way doesn't embody love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, then we're not on the right path. And we can't play into our culture, the world's ways of it's just all about the ends justify the means, because Jesus didn't play that way. We've got to live like Jesus, talk like Jesus, have a posture like Jesus, because the way is the goal more than it is the numbers, the growth, whatever you might have at the end of your rainbow that you're hoping is the goal. So this is just a symptom of a sickness that I think is in all of our churches, in the capital C church, where we need to be mindful, like, okay, we're not thinking that the ends justify the means, right? Because that just should not compute in the way of Jesus.
Yeah. And it wasn't clear from the article, it wasn't very clear whether or not he ran this through with the other, staff or the lead pastor or anything beforehand.
Like if there was a check.
Yeah, but still with the lead pastor defending it, you know.
Well, and I read in that article too, like he's been at multiple churches, so he's had experience. Like it's not like he's just, hey, this is your
here
first
I was
church.
trying to give him
I
the
know, you're looking at him with the good eye, and I'm like,
it's a failure in so many different ways. And I hope that he can learn from this, that there was nothing else more sinister going on behind the curtains outside of a really dumb move.
Yeah.
In the hot mom culture, whatever that is.
I don't know either.
I don't see those bumper stickers anymore. So.
We're running in different crowds. Yeah. I'm okay with that.
So a popular topic around here right now is the app BeReal. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that. This article is called "What is BeReal? This buzzy new app has TikTok playing copycat." It's an entrepreneur article by Gabrielle Bienzas. BeReal is a trending new social media app where you get a notification once a day to make a post. The app takes a photo using both your front and back camera, and you're supposed to post it in 2 minutes to be marked as posting on time. You can post later, but you want to post on time, make yourself look cool. TikTok and Instagram have both added features like BeReal to their platforms as well. BeReal was founded in January of 2020 by France-based Alexis Berriot in response to a feeling that current social apps are doing everything else but connecting us with our friends and family. The result is a feed full of ordinary stuff, work from home selfies, spin class views, or pictures of feet propped up on the dinner table. You get to see parts of your friends' lives that you may not have seen before. So what stands out to you about BeReal? What makes it so different from other social media apps? Allison, you've been using it for
I love
a while.
it.
Yeah, so do I.
And I've been using it for almost 24 hours
Yeah.
in preparation. I just got real. I was cynical, and now I'm a believer.
Yeah, see?
I rolled my eyes for those listening.
I was going to say, they don't know that.
Yeah.
No, I do love it. One, I think it's just fun. The fact that you get 2 minutes to post. It's just, I don't know, there's something just fun about it. And then, just seeing what everybody's doing in that moment. The I don't know, flip side is that, like if it went off right now, we wouldn't know. Our phones are on. Our phones are on Do Not Disturb.
I keep looking down. That would be so perfect for this segment.
Yeah.
So then we would be posting late, and then it makes you look at people like, oh, were you just waiting to post until you were doing something cool or, that sort of a thing? Whereas, no, sometimes I'm actually just like driving my car and I can't post until I get somewhere, those kinds of things. But, there's a flip side to everything, but I love it. Just, I think because it's so simple.
Yeah.
And it really takes no brain power. And that's what I love about it the most.
Yeah. And it's not a social media app that you're sitting there scrolling for, half an hour to an hour.
Everybody's
day.
posting at the same time.
Yeah.
So you look at it and then you're done.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one thing I love about it. But Joel, what are your thoughts since getting it
newbie.
yesterday?
You know what? It's changed my life in such monumental ways in the last 24 hours. I don't know where to begin. I hope I don't tear up. No, I mean, it's kind of funny. Everybody else on our staff team has been using it for quite a while, and I was kind of poking fun at it. And then Saturday Night Live did a sketch about it that I thought was hilarious. And then I knew we were talking about it. So it's interesting. I mean, I kind of bristle against the latest, greatest things on the internet because I already struggle with my relationship with technology and getting too sucked in and wasting time. Like, I never even got into the Wordle thing. I just confess that. I confess that. I know that a lot of people are upset about that. But, I mean, I think there are some really interesting countercultural kind of values that pop up because of BeReal. Like, there is so much posturing. I mean, one of the most ridiculous things about social media is the comparison trap, the comparison game we can find ourselves in while we're scrolling, because we're just seeing everybody else's highlights and like their vacation pics and what they're doing compared to us sitting at a desk or us being in pre-winter feeling like winter today in Indiana. And you can feel so bad about it. And I do love that part of the mission of BeReal is to, kind of cut that down and like, hey, in the moment right now, and people will know if you are posturing and trying to like get the perfect angle for your selfie. And so I think that's a cool thing. I think that anything that can lead a generation more towards authenticity and less posturing, less of a filter, or less of a presenting or performing stance is something that I want to be for. So I've taken I bought a lot of stock in BeReal now, and hopefully we can make this thing go.
Well,
but no, I agree.
Figure out why my BeReal won't load most of the time, and if you're listening, you know the struggle, because half the time the notification goes off and you swipe and it's like,
I haven't experienced that yet. Alexis told me he set mine up perfectly because now I'm part of the company.
Oh, good, thank you.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's not a huge time suck, and it's something that, I could spend a little bit of time on that is leaning towards authenticity and being real. I just hope that they don't always go off when I'm only sitting at my laptop, because I'll look like it is, though. I hear what I'm saying. I was about to say, because I'll look like a boring person. Yeah. And I'm like, but this is what's actually real.
My life.
But I have this little thing in the back of my head where I don't want to look like a boring person.
Yeah.
This is Man, it's working
it's
on me.
part of
I'm
it.
a believer.
There was
I
one
need
week,
this.
a couple weeks ago, I mean, Abby, Kenton, Nico, and I were all in the office like 3 days out of the week when it went off. And so we're all in each other's BeReals because we were working. Because, it doesn't always, happen during times when you're doing anything exciting.
Yeah.
So that's, that's okay.
That's part of it.
And it's also okay to like not be a part of social media. Like it's not
It's
like
true.
you shouldn't feel like it's something you're completely missing out on, because that's part of the mission of what BeReal is trying to do too. The result is a feed full of ordinary stuff.
Also, if you work someplace that, has like trade secrets or something like that, pay attention to what's on your screen if you are sitting at your laptop before you take the other picture, because I feel like, this has the potential to get somebody fired or,
Someone's
something
bank
bad.
account information.
Right.
Goes out.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna
personal
happen.
information. Yeah.
Your social
like-
security is right there.
yeah. So at least, pay a little bit of attention.
Yeah.
But I will say this, though. Where my harshest judgments are held for people that post after the 2-minute warning. Allison's like, well, I'm driving, so I can't post. I'm like, no, you stick your phone up and just take a terrible picture.
I will literally
You don't
not
have to
do
even
that.
be in the frame. It's
I'm
all
not
it is
gonna do
pushing one button and taking a terrible picture. The
Listen.
people that are waiting later, no respect. No respect at all.
That's fine. Drink that coffee with your pinky up, too, while you're there. No, I love it. It's fun.
It is a fun app. So if you had to give up social media, well, one form of social media for a month, which one do you think would be the most difficult to give up?
Easily Facebook for me. Not because I like it, but because it's so ingrained into my work and my life. You know what I mean? I just think because it's sort of like a network of people that I'm serving and connected with that way. I mean, I'm always looking for people, in our community that have had a baby, or maybe something bad had happened, and there's a way that we could connect with them. So it's just ingrained in my work, and therefore it's found its way into my brain, and then it's also into that time suck kind of thing too, to where I'm kind of mindlessly scrolling at the end of the day after the battle of bedtime to get our 3.5-year-old to sleep. Sort of just on my back scrolling, and I'm like, oh wait, that was 45 minutes and I don't know what I watched or what I saw or anything like that. So I think it would be a huge change of just my rhythm, which just speaks to my current season of too much vegging in that, in resting inside of that. But I think it'd be really hard to back away from Facebook. And I say that, and I don't enjoy Facebook. I enjoy Twitter and Instagram even more, but I feel like I spend more time on Facebook.
Yeah.
Dang it, Zuckerberg.
The one, if I had to give up everything and just keep one, I would probably keep TikTok the most, because
Those Chinese algorithms.
fascinating. Honestly, I learn lots of random life hacks on there. I hear music from like up and coming new artists on there. I can get news. I see videos from my friends. Like it's all around for me, just like more entertaining than any of the others. So
Less people that you actually know, though, correct?
less
Like
people
of what you're
that
spending
I
time on is less
actually-
people you actually know in real life.
Yes. I mean, because
There's something there.
you can have your friends on there,
Yeah,
but
you're not spending a ton of time with them.
no. And, so it's fascinating. Plus, I think, yes, there are also like random highlight reels, fake things on there. But, like you talked about with Facebook, like it is kind of our highlight reel. Like these are the best things that happened in my day. You don't see my kid having a meltdown in the grocery store or us having arguments, in the car on the way places, kind of a thing. And, so that's where for me, like Facebook, kind of the value of it kind of goes down a little bit. But TikTok, man, people, they are unafraid. Yeah. They will say whatever they want, highlight reel or not.
Yeah, no, TikTok would be the same for me.
Yeah.
I love it. And it's frustrating for me because I'll sit down and I'm like, oh, do I want to watch a 30-minute, episode of some show? No, I'm just going to scroll on TikTok for a little bit, and it's an hour that's passed. And I chose to do that over watching a 30-minute episode.
But you probably have a recipe to make for next week.
Yeah.
You've got travel destinations for the future. You got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Wanting things you don't have. That's what TikTok's giving you. I want to do that now. I sat down and I didn't have that want or desire.
Yeah.
Now I do.
Hey, I learned
it's another form
something
of
new.
shopping. There it is. That's
Yeah. And the algorithm, like you said,
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Like
Yeah.
there will be something that I just like think about, or, do a quick Google search on it, and suddenly there's so many TikToks about it, and it's freaky.
It is a little weird.
I heard,
but I get the same stuff on Facebook too. I get ads for.
Yep.
I heard somebody speaking about this on a news program a couple Sunday afternoons ago, talking about like the algorithms on TikTok, how it's destroying our country.
Oh.
Because they're like the things that you click, your political views or your views on the pandemic or your likes, desires, things that you shop for, look for, things that you click, it's feeding you more and more of those and nothing that's unlike those things. And so we get into these tunnels to where it's just an echo chamber of the things that we like, that we already agree with, that gives us down a deeper rabbit hole of what that thing is about. Scared me to death. Now, I think there are elements of that on all social media, but they said that the strength of the TikTok algorithms and the video base of it, like, ooh, it can. I mean, I have some friends that are in a season of deconstruction when it comes to their faith, and they're like, after a while, the only thing I was watching were people's stories of deconverting or deconstructing their faith, and I had like no hope at the end of a couple of weeks. It's like all I was seeing, and I think that's just a scary part of TikTok for me.
Yeah.
But the videos are really funny.
Mine are about dogs and sometimes potatoes and like I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
so
if I sit with Lucas and he's going through his phone on TikTok, like every single video is dogs, and he's liking every single one of them.
But our coworker Nico, I told him that my TikTok was like dog heavy, and he's like, I would not be on TikTok if it was dogs. Like his are like people falling and laughing, because he's kind of a student pastor.
Oh, okay.
He's kind of a weirdo, and so it is interesting how everybody's are different. Like I also get on Book Talk. Like there's lots of places. Good places that you can end up on TikTok as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, our last topic today is an article titled Christians, Stop Using Woke as an Insult. This is a Relevant Magazine article by Tyler Huckabee. In recent years, Christians have called people woke as a way to insult others. This article encourages us to retire woke from the church lexicon of put-downs. As an insult, the word has become so broad that it's useless and so mean-spirited that no helpful conversation can spring from its well. Woke became popular as a term during the protests against Michael Brown's death in Ferguson, Missouri. That idea of staying woke, meaning to be aware of racial injustice, was how the phrase has been used almost ever since, until the last few years. The word has been warped and turned into a weapon to poke fun at those who have differing worldviews by numerous Christians. Okay, so we took a quick break here to post BeReal, I think is what's happening.
Let's go, it's BeReal time.
Wait, am I not late yet? I'm not late?
Apparently I'm late because it says I got the notification 3 minutes ago.
I think I'm late.
Yeah, I'm 2 minutes late.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, so we posted our BeReals.
I'm 2 minutes late.
It happens, see?
Yeah.
Look.
Sometimes you get the notification late.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Or it won't
Come
load.
on, Alexis.
Okay.
Okay, so back to this conversation about Christians using woke as an insult. I mean, we know that Christians, we really shouldn't be using insults at all.
Oh,
but,
good point.
Yeah. But what about woke is so hurtful? And why do so many Christians use it?
Well, maybe we should take a step back and be like, I think it's probably not all Christians. I mean, I think specifically white Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't hear a bunch of people of color complaining about this. So maybe we can say white Christians, or we could say white straight Christians. We can go that way, or cis, whatever we are saying about that. But there are, and which is a majority, I guess, of evangelicals in America. But it is so discouraging to me that we have, ripped a word out of its original meaning, and people of faith are so fragile and hate feeling like they have got anything to learn, to humble themselves in, or to think about the adverse experiences of other people, that this has become weaponized to where we do have to insult people, be like, oh, you're just being woke, or what a woke joke.
Right.
And that's just really discouraging to me. Even back when I was in Bible college, there was a conversation between Christian leaders about, the gospel there's the gospel about Jesus, and there's like the social gospel, and there was like these wars between these two things. And I just have never found there to be a divide between these two worlds, because the way that I understand the gospel is not just about going to heaven. It's not just about an other life. It's about the life of heaven infusing the life here, and it never ends, and that's what makes it eternal. And man, I can't find a Jesus in the New Testament who doesn't care about how people are treated, and is just trying to get people on a lifeboat to heaven. So yes, the gospel is about a relationship with God, vertical, but it can never wipe out or minimize a relationship horizontal to other people, especially those who are poor, marginalized, and oppressed. I just did a quick search to see how much of the book, the Bible, were about certain topics, and I found it interesting. There's 293 verses about sin. 293, out of over 6,000 verses in the Bible. 149 verses about hell. There's 367 verses about prayer, talking to God, communing with God. But there's over 2,000 verses, 2,000 sentences, passages about the poor, the oppressed, and the marginalized. Doesn't that weight show you that like people that are victims of injustice, people who are kicked to the curb, the outsiders, they matter to the heart of God. If 2,000 verses are about the poor, and there's 149 about heaven and hell, there's 293 about sin, we get a lot of airtime to that. But it doesn't seem to be about the poor, the oppressed, the marginalized, the outcast. And I just think it just doesn't make very much sense. A life that is communing with God vertically will be radically generous to the people and hospitable to the people around us, especially those who are hurting. And to use it as an insult, to me, deflects from any responsibility to be doing kingdom work here and now. There's that old phrase that there are Christians that are so heavenly minded that they're up to no earthly good. And that shouldn't be the way that we're described. We should be sitting at tables, pushing against systems, voting against systems of oppression, leading to a new day where people that are on the outside have a doorway, a pathway into a life of fullness, of hope, of light and healing. So yeah, I kind of bristle to anybody making a joke out of just being awakened to the injustices that are around us and not sleeping and just walking through your own life. I remember Rob Bell said years ago in one of his teachings that you're starting to have a problem when your world becomes the world, when just your experience is the only experience you can possibly imagine being real, when we know that our life here in America is not a normalized life experience on planet Earth. Our life in the last 100 years is not a normalized life experience through the course of human history. We've got to think about other people, and that's the goal. And I think that's what woke should do, is widen our lens, widen our view to see other people, the poor, the oppressed, the marginalized, those on the outside who have been kicked down or pushed down by systems.
Yeah. I think it's just, the way it's being used now, it's just really dismissive. And instead of like creating conversation and, causing us to interact and figure out why you think this way or why you feel this way, we just write people off as, too woke and, just kind of dismiss them. And so for me, like the next time that I'm tempted to think that somebody's like being too woke, I want to take a minute and like figure out like why that is, like what's our difference, like what's our, what's the actual issue that I'm feeling when I think that they're, being a certain way. Because like I feel like that's more loving, creates more conversation, like it's an opportunity for us to listen, which I don't feel like we do enough because we're just so worried about what we think or, what we have to say instead of what everybody else has to say. So I feel like that would just lead to more change and understanding of the world if we just took a step back.
Yeah, I think what you said was really profound because we should have a posture of humility and learning. And it doesn't mean that we need to agree with all the outcomes.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But if you're bristling towards something, be curious about why your emotions are that way and be like, okay, I want to humble myself. I want to learn. I want to hear your story and not be thinking about my response, not listening to respond, but listening to understand. And man, I can't remember the last time that any Christian in the public light or any Christian that I know has been accused of being so curious
Right.
or so humble, just wanting to learn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you have to agree with all the outcomes of that conversation,
No.
but I don't want to be dismissive.
Yeah.
And I think just, using woke as an insult or, kind of a joke, it's dismissive of what someone's actually feeling and maybe what their life experience has been. And I'd rather be marked by humility and curiosity and wanting to sit and learn why people are the way that they are instead of writing their story for them in a negative light.
Well, thank you for joining us today. If you have any topics or questions, you can email us at atypicaltalkpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at atypicaltalkpod for any updates and get notified when there's new episodes out. You can also get notified by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. We hope that these conversations today have helped you think wider, love deeper, and partner with God to bring the up there down here in your everyday life. Thanks for listening.